ये इसको जरा तेरे फ़ोन पे चला के देखते हैं, पता चल जाएगा ना आ रहा है कि नहीं।
वही रखो अपने पास।
क्या था एड्रेस?
Connected to OnePlus 3G and PLD laptop. PLD laptop disconnected.
मॉर्निंग चैंटिंग पेज 2। योऽसो भगवा अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धः स्वाक्षातो येन भगवता धम्मो सुपटिपन्नो यस्य भगवतो सावकसंघो तमयं भगवन्तं सधम्मं ससङ्गं निसक्कारि यथा अर्हम् आरोपिति अभिपूजयामः साधुनो वन्दे भगवा शुचिपरिनिर्भोऽपि पश्चिमा जनतानुकम्पमानसा इमे सकारे दुर्गतपणाः प्रभूते पटिकनातु हाकं दीर्घरथं हिताय सुखाय अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो भगवा बुद्धं भगवन्तम् अभिवादे तस्य भगवतो कुम्भभाग नमकारं करोमसि। नमो तस्य भगवतो अरहतो सम्बुद्धस्य। नमो तस्य भगवतो अरहतो सम्बुद्धस्य। नमो तस्य भगवतो अरहतो सम्बुद्धस्य। श्री रत्न वंदना। आनंदमयं रतनतय प्रणाम गाथा यो चैव सम्वेग परिकीर्तन पाठं च भणामसि। बुद्धो सुशुद्धो करुणा महन्नवो यो चन्त शुद्ध वरज्ञानलोचनो। वन्दामि बुद्धं तं आदरेण तं धम्मोपदीपो वियतस्य सद्गुणो। यो मग्गपाकामतविदभिन्नको लोकोत्तरो यो च तदत्तदीपनो। वन्दामि धम्मम् अहम् आदरेण तं सङ्घो सुखिताभ्यतिखेतसंज्ञितो। यो दिट्ठसन्तो सुगतानुबोधको लोलपहीनो अर्यो सुमेधसो। वन्दामि सङ्घम् अहम् आदरेण तं पुण्यं मया यममम समुपद्रवा। माहोन्तु ते तस्य प्रभावसिद्धिया। इद तथागतो लोके उपन्नो सम्बुद्धस्य। धम्मो च देशितो नियानिको उपसमिको परिनिर्वाणिको सम्बोधगामि सुगतः पवेदितो। मयन्तं धम्मं श्रुत्वा एवं जानामः। जातिपि दुःखा जरापि दुःखा मरणमपि दुःखं। सुखपरिदेव दुःखदोमनस्य उपायासापि दुःखा। अप्येहि संपयोगो दुःखो प्येहि वित्पयोगो दुःखो। यमपि इच्छं न लभति तमपि दुःखं। संखित्तेन पञ्चुपादानकन्दा दुःखा। सेयतीदं रूपोपादानकन्दो वेदना उपादानकन्दो संज्ञोपादानकन्दो संहारोपादानकन्दो विज्ञान उपादानकन्दो। ये सम्परिज्ञाय धर्माणो सुभगवान् एवं बहुलं सावके विनेति। एवं भागा च पनस्य भगवतो सावकेषु अनुशासने बहुला भवत्यपि। रूपम् अनित्यं वेदना अनित्या संज्ञा अनित्या संहारा अनित्या विज्ञानम् अनित्यं। रूपम् अनत्ता वेदना अनत्ता संज्ञा अनत्ता संखारा अनत्ता विज्ञानम् अनत्ता। सभी संखारा अनित्या सभी धम्मा अनत्ताति। ते मयं पूतिनामः जातिया जरा मरणेन शोकैः परिदेवैः दोमनस्यैः उपायासैः दुःखोत्तीर्णा दुःखपरेता। अप्येव नाम इमस्य केवलस्य दुःखकन्दस्य अन्तक्रिया पय्या येथाति। चिरपरिनिभृतमपि भगवन्तं शरणं गता। धम्मं च संघं च तस्य भगवतो शासनं यथा बलं मनसि करोम अनुपटिपजाम शासानोपटिपत्ति इमस्य केवलस्य दुःख खंदस्य अंतक्रियाय संवत्। पेज 34 बोली थी मैत्री भावना पर भगवान बुद्ध के वचन। आए हम मैत्री भावना पर भगवान बुद्ध के वचनों का पाठ करें। ऐसा करना चाहिए उसे जो अच्छाई में कुशल है और शांति का मार्ग भली प्रकार जानता है। वह सुयोग्य बने, सरल बने, सुभाषी बने, मृदु स्वभाव वाला और निरभिमानी बने। वह सदा संतुष्ट रहे, उसका पोषण सहज हो, अति व्यस्त न हो, सादगी का जीवन हो, इंद्रियां शांत हों, दक्ष हों, विनीत हों, कुलों में आसक्त न हो। कुछ भी ऐसा न करें जिसे विज्ञजन बुरा कहें। सदैव यही मैत्री भाव रहे, सभी प्राणी सुखी हों, क्षेम युक्त हों। जो भी प्राणी स्थावर हों या जंगम, सभी बड़ी, महान, मध्यम या छोटी देहदारी हों, सूक्ष्म हो अथवा स्थूल, दृश्य हो या अदृश्य, दूर रहते हो या पास, उत्पन्न हो या उत्पन्न होने वाले हों, सभी प्राणी सुखी हों। एक दूसरे को धोखा न दें, किसी से घृणा न करें, क्रोध या वैमनस्य से एक दूसरे के दुख की कामना न करें। जैसे एक माता अपने जीवन की परवाह किए बगैर अपने इकलौते पुत्र की रक्षा करती है, उसी प्रकार वह अपने मन में सभी प्राणियों के प्रति अपरिमित मैत्री भाव बढ़ाए। सभी लोगों के प्रति अपरिमित मैत्री भावना करे। ऊपर नीचे, आड़े तिरछे, बिना किसी बाधा के, बिना वैर और शत्रुता के, चाहे खड़ा हो या चलता, बैठा या लेटा, जब तक तंद्रा विहीन है, इस स्मृति को बनाए रखे। इसे ही ब्रह्म विहार कहते हैं। इस प्रकार वह मैत्री भावना करने वाला किसी मिथ्या दृष्टि में नहीं पड़ता। शील व सम्यक दृष्टि से संपन्न हो जाता है। कामनाओं के प्रति आसक्ति को हटाकर पुनः गर्भ में नहीं आता।
Now meditate and listen to this Dhamma reflection by Lung Kusumedi, Man-Made Fetters.
Bringing attention to the here and now, Paccuppanna Dhamma. It's like this, the sitting posture you're reflecting now, you're not thinking about it, whether it's good posture, bad posture, whatever. However you're sitting is just like this at this moment. The breathing, inhaling, exhaling is like this. So you're reflecting on the way it is, and each one of you can be this knowing, this reflective knowing, non-critical recognition of the way it is at this moment. Your state of mind, your feeling, mood of the moment is like this. So just this simple way of reflecting is, you begin to realize the power of awareness before it becomes personal. When you start, is my posture good, or somebody else's posture is better than mine, and then you start creating yourself as a separate person who has an ideal, imagines an ideal posture. But instead of becoming a person, just being the witness, the Puto, Ru Pachuban, know the present in a way that is non-critical, just recognizing the posture, the sitting postures like this, the breathing, the mood, state of mind is like this. So being this Puto, this knowing, this witnessing, not a person with ideas about right meditation and how things should be, or comparing yourself to others, but just a simple recognition of the way it is at this moment. The sound of silence, you hear the sound of the air conditioning. Sound of silence, the nada. The way it is at this moment. Then to remind you, it's like listening, observing, witnessing. So like Puto as a mantra can be used for tranquility, as you just chant Puto, not allowing any other thoughts into consciousness. If as a tranquilizing, as a samatha practice, you determine to think Puto rather than let your mind think and wander in the thoughts. You think just one, intentionally think Puto, the Buddha's name, will take you to tranquility, or sense of tranquil, blissful tranquility. Then Puto becomes more than just a meditation technique of, just for tranquility, which is temporary on this level of the samatha, the concentration on an object, to knowing, reflecting. And that's what the word Buddha really means. It's not a person. So we talk about becoming the Buddha, or Gautama the ascetic became the Buddha. Gautama the ascetic was mindful, observing the way it is in this awakened, witnessing, understanding the way things are. All conditions are impermanent. All Dhamma is not self. So if you're observing, like your mental state, your mood that you're witnessing now is turbulent, excited, restless, just let it be that way. Don't try to make it calm. Be just a simple knowing. It's like this. If it's, or if it's peaceful, concentration, mind wanders, you feel confused, or you feel bored, or you feel anger, it's like this. So there's nothing to do about it, there's nothing like you've got to get rid of it. But trusting in Buddho, in the knowing of it, allowing it to be what it is when it's present, when you're aware of it as a object in the mind, then you can recognize it when it ceases, because it is a sankhara, what arises ceases. So I tell this story about a woman that came to me when I was living in England, and before I even came to England, she'd been practicing Buddhist meditation. But she felt after all these years of practicing meditation, she still hasn't attained anything. She comes home from her work in the city of London, and she tries to do anapanasati, but she can't. Her mind wanders all over the place. She can't, and she says, I can't do anapanasati. I've been trying for years and haven't gotten anywhere with it. So I asked her, I said, what kind of work do you do? What kind of, during the day, what is it you're doing? She had a job where she had to talk all the time on the telephone for the daytime job. So she was busy talking, consulting, solving problems, thinking, reacting, and then she goes back to her home after work and expects to do anapanasati as some kind of peaceful, tranquil state. And so I said, you can't, anapanasati, if your mind's all excited, stirred up, and your mind wanders all over the place, to try to make it calm with anapanasati is kind of tyrannizing yourself. If something's stirred up and you're excited or anxious or confused or restless, Just be the knower of it. Let it settle down. These kind of excited mental, emotional states, confused states, wandering mind. If you're always trying to fight them and make them obey your commands to stop or become tranquil, it's a hopeless task. So this is why it's so important when you do like formal meditation practice to be aware of the state of mind you're in. It's like this. If it's already peaceful, if it's calm and not excited, then anapanasati is a very skillful way to practice. And so who knows whether your mind right now, each one of you knows the state of your mind at this moment. They're not going to be the same for everybody. So we don't need to know about each other's state of mind, but we certainly know the state of mind that we're witnessing with Bhutto at this moment is like this. And then again, I reiterate this, it's like this, it's just a skillful way of accepting it, because it's not critical. It's just a noting, a notation. Now in formal teachings of the Buddha, they talk about the 4 stages of stream entry, Sotapanna, Sakata, Kami, Anakami, Arahant. So these are stages of progress, development in insight. Stream entry is when you have the insight into the path, Sotapanna, so you have the initial insight into the path, the Eightfold Path with Samadhi. Sakadakami is called once returner. The Sakadakami still has sexual desire and aversion, but because of the stream entry, stream entry amounts to the first 3 fetters. There's 10 fetters in this that affect these 4 stages. The first 3 fetters or obstructions is Sakya Ditti is the first one, which is the ego, the identity with the body. I am this physical body. A sense of ownership and identity with the states of mind. The second fetter is Siddhapata Paramasa, attachment to cultural conditioning, social conditioning. Seeing yourself always through the programs you've acquired. These are conditioned after you're born. You're not born with Sakya Ditti, with an ego. You're not born with a conventional identity, with a cultural identity or religious or ethnic identity. These you get after you're born. So they're created by human beings. They're not natural phenomena. The third one is Vicikicca, which is the Pali word for doubt. And doubt always arises through attachment to thinking. So thinking is another acquired gift that we have after we're born. So you're not born thinking in Thai or English or any other language. So notice, make this emphasis that these first three fetters are human-made fetters. They're not just natural to the species. We're not born with an ego, with an I am my body. We're not born with cultural, social identities. We're not born with thinking in any language whatsoever. But these artificial conditions that human beings create are the three main obstructions to stream entry, to recognizing the first insight into the path of liberation. So it's important to reflect on, that's why being aware of thought is more important than thinking. Because thought is in language, whatever language you think in, is an acquired trait through cultural conditioning. The view of yourself as a physical body, the way we limit ourselves by our appearance and form, by our gender, by our age. These are all acquired conditions after birth. They're not, as they say in Thai, tamachat, they're not natural. You're not born with them. You're born with a physical body and consciousness. So the physical body is tamachat, it's natural. Consciousness is tamachat, it's natural. It's not, you don't acquire consciousness after you're born, or obviously the body is born, means it already exists as an entity that's conscious. It hasn't become a personality yet, or an ego. So Sakyaditi as the first fetter, recognize it. It's you're aware of Sakyaditi, the Puto, this practice of awareness. You create yourself. You believe you are this person, this physical body, that you are only this physical body. We tend to underestimate ourselves endlessly by identifying with something so vulnerable, so fragile as a human body, as ourself. That's what we are. So there's a lot of fear that comes from that belief that we are, that one is this mortal physical form. And then the cultural conditioning, the Silapata Paramasa, attachment to conventions, to cultural conditioning, to religious conditioning, to class conditioning, so these are attitudes, assumptions, memories that are instilled in us when we're still innocent children. Like a child is basically innocent, so it kind of absorbs whatever the mother, the father, the social background, the cultural, they take on all those identities and beliefs. Because of the innocence of a child, it doesn't discriminate, it just believes. But Puto, Puru, knowing, Buddha, refuge in Buddha is knowing the ego, the sense of I am my body, I am my feelings, I am my emotions, my eyes, my ears, my nose, my tongue. These are all, create this sense of separation, individuality, and then vicikicca, or doubt, is the result of attachment to thinking. That's why you can't become enlightened through thinking. You can't see the path of liberation through analysis, through thinking, through imagining. So that's why we use the word intuitive. It's an awakened intuitive awareness that we realize the Eightfold Path, or Sammaditthi, right, for perfect understanding. So that's why it's important to encouragement that I'm trying to encourage you to investigate these three fetters. With this Buddha practice of observing, witnessing the ego. It's not trying to get rid of the ego, criticizing, it's not about trying to get rid of it or improve your ego or whatever. It's not about increasing the sense of your separateness, but in recognizing the belief that I am this physical body. Like being aware of the body. I haven't thought about it as me yet, as my body. It's just awareness. The body, the posture's like this. Feels like this, the hands are like this, the pressure on sitting on the mat is like this. And that which is aware of the body is it inside the body? Is that just limited to, is it inside your physical body and your brain? Is it in your head? Is consciousness limited to individual forms of individual beings? We can assume that from the Sakyaditthi level, from the ego level. When you see yourself, define yourself, confine yourself to the form of your human body as what you are, then we can believe anything. That consciousness is inside me, and my consciousness, your consciousness, is different. But with mindfulness, awareness, consciousness, has no boundary. As I was saying last evening about the consciousness it's invisible, it's infinite. It has, where does consciousness begin and end? Is it personal? Is it my consciousness is different from yours? Or consciousness is the knowing, is Buddha, knowing the way it is. The body is like this. The mood, the state of mind, the emotional state is like this. So you can be aware of your body sitting, standing, walking, lying down, the four postures. You can be aware of. Is it the body, when it's lying down, aware of its self saying that it's lying down. There's awareness of the movement from sitting to standing to walking to lying down. That isn't, the body making comments or aligning itself with any of its movements. It's conscious awareness, mindfulness of the movement, changing postures that our bodies go through the day and night. The ego, or Sakya Ditti, is a creation made out of ignorance. So it's a belief system. We believe, one believes I am this body, I am a man, I'm a woman, I'm young or old, or these are beliefs that we acquire. They aren't kind of natural phenomena, but they're created by, cultural differences. What's the difference between Thai culture and American culture? Is there one culture that's created from above that we all align ourselves to, or why is there so many differences between Thais and Indians and British, or even French or Germans? Cultural conditioning. And that's what you get when you're born into a particular culture. You get those values, those attitudes, that sense of what's right and wrong, and what's good behavior and what isn't, according to the different cultures. But what is aware of cultural conditioning is not culture. It's the awareness, the Bhutto, knowing Dhamma the way it is. It's not Thai or French or Indian or British or anything like that. Those are made up names that we give value to, that we identify with. So, when these are like self-inquiry or, investigating. Yoniso manasikara in Pali, getting to the very root of it, so that we're not operating from viewpoints or positions, from cultural biases, from prejudices, from personal identities. So it's not about what I think is a person and what I believe as, personally or individually. So when we talk about Dhamma, that's reality, which is not about culture anymore, or personality, individual personality or identities, or about language and doubt and thinking. Because Dhamma isn't created. Human beings individuals don't create Dhamma. We can't even imagine it. Try to imagine the Dhamma. So that's why you can't, you can imagine Buddhas, so you have Buddha rupas, you can make images of the word Buddha, so the Buddha image that's behind me is an icon, it's an image of a Buddha. Because there was Gautama the Buddha, Sakyamuni Buddha, who was a human being like ourselves, who was enlightened, knowing Dhamma, which you can't see, or you have symbols for Dhamma, like a Dhammajaka, a wheel, or something like that. But you can't personify Dhamma like you can make a human form out of the word Buddha. But you can't make Dhamma into an anthropomorphic form, because it's the reality of now to be realized. It has no form, so you make symbols of it, so Dhammajaka, things like that are fair enough. But to realize Dhamma, you have to take the position of Buddho, of awareness, to realize, to know Dhamma. And to know Dhamma is knowing, pure knowing without knowing about anything. So it's consciousness, it's awareness. So, you can see that's what you are, is Dhamma. You're this awareness, this Buddho. Not as a person, not to identify it with the words, but when I talk about what am I really, the reality, if I'm not this body, not this personality, if these are all conditions, all sankharas changing, what am I really? Am I just a changing sankhara? Kind of. No wonder I get confused and frightened and that, because I'm always changing. It's unstable, shakeable, and it doesn't always change the way you want it to. So much of our experience of life is suffering because we don't want that. We want happiness. So then ask yourself, what am I really that isn't changing, unstable, dying, beginning, ending, being born and dying like conditioned phenomena like sankhara, is awareness, consciousness, Dhamma. These words are mere words pointing to the reality of being aware. So being aware of objects, being aware of objects that we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, being aware of thinking, being aware of feeling, of emotion, the state of mind, the citta, being aware. And so this is why mindfulness is called the path to the deathless. Appamado amatapadam. Appamado means awareness, mindfulness. Amatapadam is the deathless. Amata is Pali word for deathless. padang, deathless path, deathless way. Apamado amatapadang, mindfulness is the path to the deathless. So that's why when we talk about, when we reflect on using, we are this mindfulness, not this physical body, these emotional changing conditions, different thoughts, memories, worries, problems. We have this mindfulness, which is the way to the path to the deathless. Pamado machuno padang. Heedlessness is the path to death. Machuno padang. Machuno padang means to death. Heedlessness, not being mindful. Pamado, kwam pramad in Thai. Pamado is the path to death, is the way to death. These two verses are quite profound, really. Then the Dhammapada. Apamado amatpadang, pamado machuno padang, apamada namayanti. Mindfulness is never dying. Apamado namayanti, ye pamadaya tamada. Heedlessness is dying every moment. Ye pamadaya. So this kind of heedlessness, lack of mindfulness is like dying all the time, because we're always caught in the changing conditions that we're attached to. It's teachings like this I found, so kind of resonating with me throughout my monastic life, because as a personality, as a habit person, I really was obsessed with thoughts. I really liked to think and figure things out. And if I wasn't just using my thought to figure things out, then I'd get caught in obsessive thoughts and fears and worries, resentments. So, and then trying to be mindful as a person, so I've got to be mindful. So I tried to do something called mindfulness. So I started out with the Burmese style of practice at Wat Mahathat in 1966 as a layman. And they had very strong technique of yupno, pongno, rising, ceasing of the abdomen, and you do everything in slow motion. So I immediately assumed that to be mindful you had to do everything in slow motion. Because I didn't know, mindfulness said to be mindful, and so I was trying to imagine it, and then the teacher said, do everything in this very stylized form. Be aware of every movement of your foot when you're walking and so forth. So, in the beginning that was quite helpful. I'm not criticizing it. Because at least it gave me something to do, something to cling to that was different than just thinking like I would do if I wasn't doing this technique. And so, this, when I ordained as a Samanera, I escaped Bangkok because I got very confused because in 1966 the expatriate Buddhists lived in Bangkok that I associated with. There's so many views and opinions about who was an arahant, who wasn't, who was a good teacher, who was useless, and about Tamayut and Mahanikai. I think, these, in 1966 there was this incredible conflict between these two forms of Theravada Buddhism, which didn't mean anything to me. As an American, totally mystified by all the problems that you hear in the discussions of who's the best teacher and where you should ordain. So I just fled Bangkok, went on holiday to Laos, where I met a Canadian Samanera in Vientiane, who told me, saying, "Why don't you just ordain in Nong Khai like I did?" So I did, just a kind of, and the impulse from a very young Canadian. So I went over to Nong Khai from Vientiane and asked the Chao Kun at Wat Sisiket, one of the main monasteries in that town. And so he ordained me as a Samanera. And then this Canadian Samanera advised me to take just this one book with me, the Word of the Buddha. It's a collection of the basic teachings from the scriptures, from the suttas, the Four Noble Truths and all the kind of Satipatthana compiled in a reasonable form, so I took that one book with me and spent the year in Nong Khai in Wat Nun Panau, a meditation monastery just outside the town of Nong Khai. And I only had this one book to read, but it was just the basic teachings, the Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, all the different 6 efforts and 4 stages and so forth. So I kept reviewing this book, and I tried desperately to perform this Burmese-style practice, doing everything in slow motion, 24 hours a day. I could manage it in Bangkok when it was only 1 hour in the afternoon, but to try to move slowly with every, 24/7, I couldn't do it. And I had so many, being alone without distractions, because I only had this one small little book with me, and it was this practice of you go into your kuti and you stay there, and you don't have to go to meetings or bindabat. You don't have to go out to collect food. They bring you food. So you're with yourself, no one to talk to, no one could speak English, and your mind just goes bonkers. And trying to move within this stylized form of meditation, I couldn't sustain it, because so many emotions, suppressed feelings were starting to arise in consciousness. And so I was about 31 years old then, so I'd lived over 30 years, and I'm from a background, a family which was, as a kind of dysfunctional family about repressing your feelings, not to show anger. So in 30 years, I'd learned how to suppress resentment, anger, aversion, and then you create a lifestyle where, these kind of emotions you reject. But when you're with yourself all alone in a kuti, no kind of reference to anything else, I found I couldn't hold back all this anger and resentment. It just started manifesting. And I was trying to get tranquil, trying to get jhanas, wanting peace, and all the time fighting against this repressed anger. It wasn't anger about anything at the monastery. And so I couldn't blame anybody at the monastery or the conditions there. They were very good. But it was 31 years of repressed aversion, fear, a lot of fear and anger, resentment. And I didn't have any teacher, nobody could speak English. So just this one book, the Word of the Buddha, was my only teacher. So I figured out, I finally gave up trying to do this Yupnor Pongnor style of Burmese meditation and just sit there observing this anger arising in consciousness, resentment, bitterness, guilt, a lot of fear. I became incredibly frightened sometimes. But the kind of intuition was to observe it, because I couldn't do anything else. I could have left. Nobody was forcing me to stay there, but I somehow had enough kind of insight or patience to just bear with it. Bear with this negative, it lasted about 3 months of just unmitigated aversion and anger. That I wasn't blaming it on anything present. It had nothing to do with monks in the monastery or the people around me. So it made me consider what is it? You can understand getting angry if somebody is insulting you or abusing you in some way, but nobody was doing that. Just, being by myself with no kind of escape. No, one meal a day they had. So that was the highlight of the day. You look forward to the one meal. After that, there was nothing. No meetings, no way to distract yourself, no books to read, no television, no telephones, iPhones. What do you do with yourself? And then reading this book over and over, the Four Noble Truths, I started applying it to, there is suffering. It's being angry like this, feeling this anger, resentment, fear. This is real suffering, but it's not suffering because of external causes. It's suffering because, I began to see the First Noble Truth. And so for about 3 months I endured through this kind of hell realm. And then it completely vanished. And one morning I woke up and there was no anger, no resentment, no fear left. I even tried to revive it, just see if I could feel angry again, and I couldn't. And think of all the things to resent of my past, or and then no anger would arise. It's just everything was luminous, and the kuti was just a very basic wooden hut with a tin roof. It was beautiful. Everything was touched with beauty. The forest at Wat Nung Panau was kind of scrubby trees, not very beautiful, but it looked absolutely beautiful. So then I thought, I'm enlightened. This must be enlightenment, because I've never felt like this before in my life. And there was no, you begin to realize that during this 3 months of this unmitigated anger and resentment, it's like a cleansing process. Somehow I had the instinct, something in me told me to just bear with it, and it seemed like it was going to last forever, like it would never cease. But it did end, without me suppressing it or in trying to influence it in any way, just observing it, being the puto, the awareness of these negative states, negative repressed feelings. And then one morning I woke up and there was no anger, no negativity, no fear. And that state lasted about a week. Stayed in this kind of blissful state for a week. And I was hoping it was permanent. And then I had to renew my visa to stay in Thailand. So I had to go to the immigration office in Nong Khai, and at that time the immigration foreigners had to go to Bangkok. They couldn't renew their visas at outlying stations like Nong Khai, and you had to, when you renewed your visa, you had to do it in the immigration office in Bangkok. But the Chao Kun, the head monk, my upachaya, had arranged with the immigration office in Nong Khai to have my visa stamped, passport stamped in Nong Khai, so I wouldn't have to go all the way to Bangkok. And so I go to the immigration office in Nong Khai, and they obviously don't like what they're having to do. So I enter the door and I feel I'm so sensitive, so aware, and this hostility. Nobody said anything, but you could just feel the resentment and aversion toward me from these civil servants. And of course this blissful, radiant luminosity crashed. So I just took a dirty look from an immigration officer. And then they did renew my visa. So I went back to the monastery trying to get back that state. But that state arose not through imagining, it wasn't a memory. I never experienced anything like that before, so I didn't remember ever feeling that way. It's just a natural state of non-attachment. But the memory of this state created this desire to have it again. So I spent the next few weeks trying to get it back, and I couldn't, because it was desire, desire to get something you don't have, bhavadanha, and the desire to get rid of I fell back into the desire realm. And this is where I really applied the second noble truth. And why I'm emphasizing the importance of reflecting on Gamadana, Bhavadana, Vipawadana. Because I started really looking at, Gamadana wasn't such a problem, but the Bhavadana, the desire to get this state back, this memory of this blissful state, was so strong. I was doing everything to try to get it and couldn't. So then I began to recognize what I was doing was bhavadana. Because I have a memory now of that, and then it creates the desire to have it. So a memory of a previous blissful experience is still a memory. It's impermanent. And when you attach to it, it's suffering. So that's not the way to see the path, is through trying to, imagine stream entry or when you do have blissful states, tranquil states, so that to always try to get them back, but to be the Bhutto, the observer of Bhavadana, wanting something you don't have that you remember, wanting to get rid of greed, hatred, delusion, anger, and the defilements. So you become, really, it's very insightful to reflect on these three kinds of desires. And the insight to the noble truth is to let go of desire. To let go of desire, you have to know what it is. You can't just let go of desire as some kind of thing you do. You have to recognize what Gamadana, Bhavadana, Vipawadana are as you experience them, and the attachment to them is the problem. Not the desire is not the problem. It's this ignorant attachment, the Sakya Ditti, trying to get something you don't have and get rid of something you have you don't want. So these three fetters, Sakya Ditti, the ego, the conviction you have that you are just this physical form, your human body. Silabhata Paramasa, the social, cultural conditioning that you've acquired, belief systems, the assumptions, the views and opinions that you form through cultural, social, religious conditioning. They're sankharas. And then vicikicca, the third fetter, is doubt, attachment to thought, trying to figure out nirvana, trying to figure out stream entry through thinking, through the thinking process, or through imagining. So what it doesn't imagine, what isn't thinking, is awareness. It's not a thought, it doesn't create images, it's not about the past or the future, it's what you are right now is this awareness. Sati Sampajanya Satipanya. So after this evening's
उपेक्षा ब्रह्म विहार का अभ्यास करते हैं। जो भी परिस्थिति हम महसूस कर रहे हैं अपने जीवन में, जो भी मन की स्थिति है, उसको देख सकते हैं थोड़ी देर और विश्लेषण करके देख सकते हैं कि क्या स्थिति है अनुभव पे। समत्व है कि किसी बात को लेके चिंता है, किसी बात को लेके बहुत खुशी है। इस समय प्रायः चिंता और परेशानी का मौसम है, चारों तरफ अत्यंत दुख की परिस्थिति है। तो ऐसी विषम परिस्थिति में जब लगता है कि चारों तरफ खतरा मंडरा रहा है, कब हम बीमार हो जाएं, कब हमारा क्या हो, तो ऐसी परिस्थिति को याद करके समता रखना का अभ्यास करना बहुत लाभप्रद रहेगा। तो उसके लिए हम याद करेंगे कि समता किस आधार पर रहती है। तो उसको चांट करते हैं समता के लिए। जो कर्म सिद्धांत है, जो हमारा एंकर है, जो संबल है लोकीय प्रज्ञा का, लोकीय सम्मादिष्टि का। कम्मस का कम्मदायादा कम्म योनि कम्म बंधु कम्म पटिसरण यम कम्मं करिष्यन्ति कल्याणं पापकं वा तस्य दायादा भविष्यन्ति। तो जो इस समय हम महसूस कर रहे हैं परिस्थिति, वो सब विपाक कर्म है, हमारे कर्मों का फल है। और भविष्य में जो होगा वो भी हमारे ही कर्मों का फल होगा। और कर्म सिद्धांत को हम ठीक से समझें। वो डिटर्मिनिस्टिक नहीं है कि जो किया है उसका वैसा ही होगा। कर्म का फल परिस्थिति के अनुसार बदलता रहता है। जैसे भगवान समझाते हैं कि एक नमक का ढेला आप एक कटोरी में डालें तो कितना नमकीन होगा, और अगर एक गंगा नदी में डाल दें तो उसका कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा। तो इसी प्रकार अगर हम हमारी चित्त की चित्त की स्थिति बहुत कुशल चित्त है, प्रसन्न है, समता में है, तो जो भी कर्म का फल आना है वो उसी स्वरूप फल का रहेगा। तो इस समय के हमारे कर्म अच्छे हों, हम उत्तरोत्तर जब अच्छे कर्म करते रहें, यही हमारे बस में है, यही हमारे हाथ में है। बाकी जो भविष्य में होगा सो होगा। तो इस तरह भगवान की शिक्षा के अनुसार, धर्म के अनुसार समझ के चित्त शांत करने में मदद मिलती है। ज़ोर ज़बरदस्ती शांत करने से चित्त शांत नहीं हो पाता। प्रज्ञा के आधार पर ही चित्त शांत होता है। और अगर चित्त बहुत बेचैन हो रहा हो तो चित्तानुपसना करके, ये समझते हुए कि चित्त की वृत्तियाँ, चित्त की स्थिति मैं नहीं हूँ, मेरी नहीं है, उस समय उठी है, देखते हैं और जाने देते हैं, फिर समता में स्थापित हो जाता है चित्त। तो इस प्रकार अपने मन की स्थिति की, इस समय की स्थिति की जैसी स्थिति है उसको एनालाइज करके, थोड़ा गहराई से देख के चित्त को समता में स्थापित करते हैं और शरीर की ओर ध्यान देते हैं। इस तरह उपेक्षा में विहार करना बहुत उत्तम मंगल है, भगवान की वाणी है। पुट्टस्य लोक धम्मे ही चित्तं यस्य न कंपति अशोकं विरजं खेमं एतं मंगलमुत्तमम्। तो अपने मन को प्रज्ञा के आधार पे समता में स्थापित करके तब हम इस भाव को दूसरों के प्रति प्रकट कर सकते हैं कि सभी प्राणी जो इस समय किसी भी मन की स्थिति में हो, खासतौर पर परिस्थितिवश अधिक लोग दुख की स्थिति में हैं, तो मन में ये भाव ला सकते हैं कि सभी प्राणी समता में विहार कर पाएँ, दुख के कारणों को समझें, किसी को दोष न दें, दूसरों को दोष न दें। और हम खुद पहले आर्य सत्यों का विवेचन करके, ध्यान करके कि दुख का कारण तृष्णा ही होती है, और जिस हद तक हम तृष्णा को त्याग कर पाएंगे, उसको चिपकाव नहीं करेंगे, उस हद तक दुख से मुक्ति होती रहेगी। तो ये भाव पहले अपने पे अप्लाई करके, अपने पे देख के, ताकि हमारी समता और पुष्ट हो और हम ये कह सकें उपेक्षा सहगतेन चेतसा एकम दिशम परित्वा विहरति। मैं चित्त में उपेक्षा भाव स्थापित करके एक दिशा में विहार करता हूँ, एक दिशा को उससे व्याप्त करके विहार करता हूँ। जब हमारा चित्त उपेक्षा भाव में स्थापित हो जाए, शरीर में जो वेदनाएं हो रही हैं उसके आधार पर अपने सामने की दिशा के जो भी लोग हम, जिनको भी हम पहचानते हों, जानते हों, उनको याद करके उनके प्रति या अनगिनत लोगों के प्रति इस दिशा में जितने भी रोगी होंगे अस्पतालों में, घरों में, उन सब का ध्यान करके ये शुभकामना करते हैं कि वे सब उपेक्षा की भावना कर पाएँ, चित्त में उपेक्षा ला पाएँ, थोड़े थोड़े स्तर पे भी ले आएँ तो धीरे धीरे दुख दूर होगा। उपेक्षा का अर्थ ये नहीं कि हम उनके प्रति उदासीन हैं, लेकिन अपने मन को शांत रखेंगे तभी कुछ उनके लिए भी कर पाएंगे, तभी उन दूसरों के प्रति करुणा ठीक से जागेगी, वरना दूसरों के दुख देख के व्यथा ही जागती है। कभी भी आप बहुत ज़्यादा कोई ऐसा वीडियो देख लें तो मन बेचैन होने लगता है, इसलिए समता में चित्त को स्थापित करना बहुत आवश्यक। और फिर उस समता भरे चित्त से करुणा का विहार हो सकता है, मैत्री का विहार हो सकता है। तो ये बात समझ के कि उपेक्षा उदासीनता नहीं है, इंडिफरेंस नहीं है, वो शुद्ध ब्रह्म विहारों की भूमि बन सकती है। तो इस बात को समझते हुए आए हम एक एक करके सभी दिशाओं में इन तरंगों को व्याप्त करने का अभ्यास करते हैं, ताकि हमारी समता पुष्ट हो और उस पुष्ट समता से जो तरंगें निकलें वो फैलें। हमारे मन में यही भाव हो कि सभी प्राणी समता में स्थापित हों। उपेक्षा सहगतेन चेतसा एकं दिशं परित्वा विहरति तथा द्वितीयं तथा तृतीयं तथा चतुर्थं इति ऊर्ध्वं अधो तिर्यं सब्बधि सब्बतताय सब्बावन्तं लोकम्। तो सभी दिशाओं में, 10 दिशाओं में अपने को और समस्त लोगों को इन उपेक्षा भावना से व्याप्त करके थोड़ी देर विहार करते हैं। उपेक्षा भावना का अभ्यास करते समय जब आप लोगों को याद करते हैं हम लोग, तो आप बड़ी एक चीज़ नोट कर सकते हैं कि अगर हमारे प्रियजन परेशान हैं, दुखी हैं, तो उनको याद करके समता रखना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है। जबकि कोई अनजान है या ऐसा जिसके प्रति थोड़ा बहुत रोष है, उसको याद करके वो दुखी है, तो समता रखना बड़ा आसान होता है। बिल्कुल मैत्री का उलट व्यवहार मन का रहता है, तो आप इसको सूक्ष्मता से देखेंगे तो स्पष्ट मालूम पड़ेगा। और उसको देखने मात्र से ही मन में बैलेंस होने लगता है। हमें कुछ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है उसके लिए कि ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। अनजान लोग दुख में हैं तो समता का भाव बड़े आराम से जागता है। लेकिन कोई अपना प्रिय दुखी में हो तो ये भाव कि हमारी समता बनी रहे और उसकी समता भी बनी रहे, तो हमारे इनर रिसोर्सेज को चैलेंज करता है, हमारी आसक्तियों को, हमारे अटैचमेंट्स को। और किसी के प्रति द्वेष हो, उसको दुख के देख के कहीं कभी कभी लगता है कि ठीक है, ये डिज़र्व्ड इट, कर्मों का फल मिल रहा है, तो फिर उपेक्षा भाव नहीं आया सचमुच। इस तरह से सूक्ष्मता से देखेंगे तो और गहराई से चित्त शुद्धि भी होती है और उपेक्षा भाव भी पुष्ट होता है। जब हम ऐसा कर पाते हैं तब भगवान की जो वाणी है उसको चरितार्थ करते हैं। उपेक्षा सहगतेन चेतसा विपुलेन महगतेन अपमानेन अवेरेन अव्यापज्येन फरित्वा विहरति। मैं विपुल, महान, असीम, उपेक्षा संपन्न चित्त से निर्वैर, द्वेष रहित, व्याप्त चित्त से रहकर चित्त व्याप्त करते विहार कर सकता हूँ। इसीलिए उपेक्षा को पारमी भी माना गया, बोधि का अंग भी, सर्वोत्तम बोधि का अंग माना गया, क्योंकि प्रज्ञा जितनी पुष्ट होगी उतनी उपेक्षा पुष्ट होगी, जितनी उपेक्षा पुष्ट होगी उतनी प्रज्ञा पुष्ट होती है। उसका फर्म आधार तो है चार सत्यों को ठीक से देख पाना, हमारी दृष्टि सम्यक हो, सबकी दृष्टि सम्यक हो। ऐसी शुभकामना करके अभ्यास समाप्त करते हैं। सर्वे सत्ता सुखी होन्तु, सर्वे होन्तु चखेमिनो, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा किञ्चित् पापमागमात्, मा किञ्चित् शोकमागमात्, मा किञ्चित् दुःखमागमात्। भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु मे भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु ते भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु ते अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो भगवा बुद्धं भगवन्तं अभिवादयामि स्वाक्षतो भगवता धम्मो धम्ममस्सामि सुपटिपन्नो भगवतु सावक संघो संघं नमामि